Las Vegas Sheriff Joe Lombardo, even the night of the shooting, was calm and composed. But in subsequent press conferences, he is agitated. He is scared. He acts like he is in fear of his life. And we're about to go to some of those press conference clips here in a moment. But then when you discover who's in control of this investigation, then you understand why he's so concerned and why my sources in federal law enforcement and others are concerned, from what they know, that the sheriff of Las Vegas is being threatened and that his life is in danger and that he could be suicided or arkancided at any time to cover up what really happened in Las Vegas.
There's been multiple phone calls and accusations or conjecture coming through social media that there's multiple shooters at other resorts. That has been proven to be false.
1049, I need medical for that caliber to come up to the North Valet,
She said there was no gunfire outside the Bellagio Hotel last night.
Students be advised, now we're getting shots fired at Caesars and the Bellagio.
I don't want to give you a skewed timeline.
I do believe that there was 100% more than one shooter.
It sounded like a gang battle. It sounded like overlapping fire.
We got reports of a guy with a gun here. 705 Victor, what's your location? We're at the Paris. Copy, is a male with a 413 at the Paris. Subject with a 413 at Paris.
Is that reported or confirmed?
We got people running and we got security point trying to point out where the gunman is and we can't find him.
Yeah, so there was a lady who pushed her way forward into the concert venue into the first row, and she started messing with another lady and told us that we were all gonna die tonight. It was about 45 minutes before the shots were actually fired.
There is no conspiracy between the FBI, between LVMPD, and the MGM. And a couple of these items I will read from the narrative, because I don't want my comments to be construed or changed. So I wanted to ensure the accuracy of that. But most of this conference will be done strictly through my narrative provided to you. Okay? The dates of the 25th versus the 28th. This was not breaking news, no matter who believed it to be so in this form. We were aware of the discrepancy of the 28th versus the 25th in the early parts of this investigation. What we weren't aware of is why the date of the 28th was utilized in the early portion of this, as I was provided this information as part of the person registered in the suspect's room. So there is no conspiracy between the FBI, between LVMPD, and the MGM. Nobody is attempting to hide anything reference this investigation. The dynamics and the size of this investigation requires us to go through voluminous amounts of information in order to draw an accurate picture. My intent, like I stated earlier, is to give you information as I know it, unverified, to calm the public, not to establish a legal case. Everybody understand that? No question, sir.
Las Vegas Sheriff Joe Lombardo is running scared. InfoWars was the first on Monday morning, October 2nd, 2017, to report to the world, according to our FBI sources, that they found inside the reported shooter's hotel room at Mandalay Bay ISIS and Antifa paraphernalia. The news is lying. FBI HRT did the hit on the guy, and they found Antifa information in the room and photos of the woman in the Middle East. So he did not kill himself. The FBI hostage rescue team killed him because he was firing on them. So he did not want to be taken alive, and reportedly he did it. And it was Antifa crap everywhere and other things I'm not supposed to mention. That is directly from the hostage rescue team, by the way, Paul. And now the sheriff, after being threatened by the FBI, is having to double down and push the official story. This is after he signaled in the first week that there's no doubt that the mass shooter had help and that he'd clearly been radicalized.
I don't know if we have possible future prosecution. You heard me say that we're comfortable that we have the suspect in custody, but something more may come of that investigation. And I want to understand the motivation that you described, okay, to prevent any future incidents. And, did this person get radicalized unbeknownst to us? And we want to identify that source.
What we do know for 100% certainty is this. There is a massive cover-up that is now ongoing. The Sheriff's Department, under the control of the FBI and a Robert Mueller protege known for his corruption in law enforcement, have blocked conservative and independent press from the latest press conferences. On top of that, we've now learned from the victims and survivors that all of their cell phones were scooped up and everything was downloaded and then erased when it was given back to them. And other victims have been threatened to remove their videos from YouTube, Facebook, and other platforms. In fact, some of the victims that survived, who reportedly saw two shooters, have now unexplainably died. Then we have Jesus Campos, the armed security guard at Mandalay, who a full 6 minutes before Paddock supposedly opens fire out of the window on the crowd is shooting hundreds of shots down the hallway at him. He was going to be interviewed by Sean Hannity on Friday, but now he's disappeared and no one knows where he is. Ladies and gentlemen, this cover-up is massive. ISIS took responsibility, and even AP admitted that when ISIS takes responsibility, almost always they are involved. And the media demonized me for even pointing out that they'd taken responsibility, and that our sources said they found evidence that Mr. Paddock and his girlfriend had traveled to the Middle East. Days later, it was confirmed that he and his girlfriend had traveled many times to the Middle East. InfoWars broke that information, yet again showing our sources are real and accurate inside the FBI.
Let me back up just a minute. In the early throes of this tragedy, I had advised each and every one of you that items of information were going to change. The dynamics of this investigation is far-reaching, it's wide, it's huge, and you can't expect exact answers in the early throes. My intent in the early throes were to give you the information to provide that calmness in the community to ensure that we didn't have a second player or a third player out hiding in the community intending to cause us harm.
We are doing a thorough investigation and only want to provide what is accurate to you. We will only give information that we have vetted and know to be true. I will not be speaking or answering questions on issues that we do not have the facts yet.
So we will get through that. I'm not giving you 100% satisfaction associated with what I'm going to give you today, because I think some of that's going to change. And we will not know that until we're completed with this investigation.
Again, let's be clear. We have uninjured survivors of the attack. 28-year-old women that just dropped dead, who are witnesses saying there's a cover-up. We've got all the firearms experts out there, special forces, you name it, saying clearly it's not a bump stock, it's a belt-fed light machine gun. We've got the FBI grabbing up all the surveillance footage and trying to keep it from getting on the internet, and then not releasing any of the footage from inside the casino Mandalay or from the attack that night. And then we've got the shadow of Robert Mueller. It's well known that he has stay-behind networks inside the FBI and to a great extent has control of the FBI to this day. And we have his protege, Aaron Rouse, known throughout the federal government as a very, very scary globalist operative in charge of this whole thing, glaring at the sheriff, who is clearly upset, clearly threatened, and clearly fearing for his life. This is beyond any Hollywood movie I've ever seen. This is critical. Our federal law enforcement sources cannot give us specific intel because it's classified. But when pressed, they told me Aaron Rouse, just like his boss Mueller before, covered up Islamic connections to terror attacks here in America before and basically ordered air marshals, FBI, you name it, to stop investigations. That's the info we've got, is that he is a specialist at covering up and basically enabling Islamic terror. That's really important when you see ISIS taking responsibility. And the FBI, before the bodies were even cold, Monday morning saying, we rule this out, they weren't involved.
As this event unfolds, we have determined to this point no connection with an international terrorist group. As this investigation continues, we will continue to work with our partners to ensure that this is factually, thoroughly, and absolutely investigated to be able to bring comfort and peace back to this community.
Ladies and gentlemen, from our intel, they weren't just involved, they ran the whole operation. And this was supposed to kick off an entire cascade of attacks. We know there's a cover-up. The question is, what is the cover-up of?
There is no conspiracy between the FBI, between LVMPD, and the MGM. Nobody is attempting to hide anything. Reference this investigation.
We know there's a cover-up. The big issue here is this sheriff is like a deer in the headlights. And we know the official story is now a lie, and he's coming out and saying, no, trust me, it's all true. Our timeline's correct, even though all the facts show it isn't. That's why now, more importantly than ever, it's up to we the people to get the word out online and to realize that even YouTube and Facebook admit that they are censoring alternative views and research about this event because they don't want the independent press to continue to investigate. Those of us that questioned it on day one have now been proven right that there's a cover-up.